So it used to be that I'd start pretty much every Madden off with a Cleveland Browns rebuild because they were the worst team. They had like a 1-34, I want to say, stretch. They were a really, really, really awful team. And the Browns videos were in such high demand because everyone wanted to see rebuilding the worst team in the league. However, recently, the Browns, under the tutelage of Baker Mayfield and the emergence of Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, building the entire lineup, building the entire team, they started to turn that ship around. And it is cruising. And even with a bunch of injuries last year, they managed to actually get a couple wins in the playoffs over the Pittsburgh Steelers and nearly beat the Chiefs. It came down to pretty much 1 4th down conversion, if I recall correctly. The Browns are a legit competitor. So now I am rebuilding them early. Hopefully get a little bit of a shorter video out for you guys because I know a lot of these videos get really long. But this one should be pretty easy. Let's go over the team. So the Browns actually only won one playoff game. The game against the Chiefs was in the divisional. But again, still very, very close game. Chiefs won 22-17. But the Browns are definitely looking pretty good. And I've got a lot to say about them. Because I think this team is really, really good. Odell is a 90 overall, which is solid, right? Odell might be one of the most disrespected players in the league nowadays. He's been injured. That doesn't mean he's bad. He put up 1,000 yards in 2019, playing with a hernia the entire season. I don't think people understand just how ridiculous that is, especially for a receiver to do. Just ridiculous. And a healthy Odell, I think, makes his team really, really scary. We got Baker Mayfield. He's about a fringe top 10 QB right now, and he can take a big jump in 2021. I think that's definitely in play. Jarvis Landry, not sure if he's going to be in my long-term future. He's 28 as well. Same draft class as Odell. Just, a little bit worse with the star dev. Worse overall. Maybe the best offensive line in the league. Jedrick Wills, Jack Conklin at the tackle spots. Batonio, Teller, Treader up the middle. It's great. Wyatt Teller was so great last year. It's ridiculous. Huge breakout season. He was awesome. The team brought in Austin Hooper and David Njoku. And I think Nick Chubb is the best running back in the league right now. It's tough because Christian McCaffrey was injured last year. And then Derrick Henry, albeit on like 400 carries, put up 2,000 yards. But Chubb can do it all. More yards over expected. That's an advanced rushing stat. More broken tackles per attempt. Chubb is just really, really, really good. And this offense is just amazing. Maybe getting another receiver could be an upgrade for us, so I'll look to do that. And then defensively, we're going to start Greg Newsome. Really, really good cornerback prospect coming out of Northwestern. The thing with him is he was susceptible to injuries a little bit, if I recall correctly. Only 82 injury in the game, too. But Greg Newsome is a really good athlete that could be very, very good for us. Probably a star dev. We got Troy Hill from the Rams. I'm going to move Greedy Williams into the third spot, though, because he has star development. I think Myles Garrett is about the best edge rusher in the league. People want to say that TJ Watt is. TJ Watt's really good as a 3-4 outside linebacker. I think Myles Garrett is maybe the best pure edge rusher as a pass rusher in the league. D-tackle's not great. Andrew Billings, Malik Jackson, Tommy Togiai could end up being okay. Jadeveon Clowney is a great run defender. Doesn't really offer a ton as a pass rusher. He's not bad, but he's just not that elite player that I think people wanted him to turn into. John Johnson is a great signing by the Browns to beef up that secondary. And then Ronnie Harrison. Grant Delpit could be our future big-time playmaking safety. I almost want to move Ronnie Harrison to linebacker. He's 6'3", 214. He's big. And we could play him over Sione Takitaki. Anthony Walker Jr., I think, is a big free agent pickup. And then we got Mac Wilson, decent. And maybe one of the steals of the draft in Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah. Huge pickup. But I'm going to move Ronnie Harrison to left outside linebacker in order to play Grant Delpit right away. I don't think I'm going to make any trades, really. And we'll simulate to the midseason mark. And we didn't even really talk about Kareem Hunt, who could give us a really good kick after Nick Chubb maybe takes a playoff or two. Got Donovan Peoples-Jones, not to be confused with Dennis Peoples, star of Jaguars and Texans franchise on my Madden 21 series. David Njoku as well. But yeah, definitely a lot to work with on this team. Ooh, not doing too badly. 5-2 at the midseason mark. But the Ravens are also 5-2. The Steelers are right on our tail at 4-2. We got a breakout challenge, though. Greg Newsome. If Greg Newsome can get up to superstar development, that would be so big for this rebuild. It's ridiculous. I'm assuming he is star. I would kind of be shocked if he is superstar, but if he can get up to superstar X Factor, that'd be crazy. Let's see what we need to bring back before simulating this week. And Wyatt Teller is big. I'm going to sign him to a 5-year deal and not even think twice about it. We have about $30 million in cap room. Not really sure Jadeveon Clowney is going to be the best move. Maybe, but maybe not. David Njoku. Don't really need a backup tight end this bad. Ronnie Harrison, I think I would like to re-sign. Although we are paying him as an outside linebacker and not a safety. So he's a little bit more expensive, but I think a 6-year deal. Bring him back to at least 30. That's huge. Jamie Gillen I want. Anthony Walker I think I want. I want a lot of these guys back. Jamie Gillen is back, as is Anthony Walker. Andrew Billings is like a fringe type re-sign, maybe. I don't really want Cody Parkey back. And I don't really think we can afford Clowney and Njoku long term, so I'm probably just going to leave them. We have Austin Hooper, Harrison Bryant under that. We're going to be fine. And in simulation, we win 41-17. I think we might be seeing something good here. Okay. Nope. Greg Newsome didn't get it. Didn't hold him to under 150 yards. I guess I had 17 points, but that's sad. Superstar dev would have been huge for him if he had star. But we're going to simulate to the playoffs now. Should be in the playoffs. Should be. 11-6. Made the playoffs. And it's the Kansas City Chiefs in our way. Only went 11-6. Finished second in the division. I think we could have been a lot better than that. Check out stats and awards here. We had the best offense in the league. What about our defense then? 5th? I mean, still really good. Baker threw for about 4,300 yards, 39 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Rushing, Nick Chubb broke the 2K mark. 2001 also had 13 touchdowns, averaged almost 6 yards per carry. Kareem Hunt was really good too. Receiving, Odell Beckham Jr. about 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns. Jarvis Landry had 9 TDs as well. Austin Hooper got involved. Hollywood Higgins in there a little bit as well. Defensively, Ronnie Harrison, 127 tackles, 5 for loss, 1.5 sacks, and a pick. Malik Jackson led our team in tackles for loss with 19. Had 6 sacks. Clowney and Garrett both put up 11. A little bit disappointing in those sack numbers. And JOK had 2 picks along with Greg Newsome, so the rookies led the way. Every new addition. John Johnson in free agency had 2 interceptions as well. Not that that's some crazy number because it's not. Okay. Colin Kaepernick wins MVP with the Eagles. All right, that's something. Good old Colin Kaepernick. But we'll see if we can beat the Chiefs. This can be a really tough team to beat. The Chiefs are really, really strong usually in simulation, and they beat us by 10, and our available salary cap is less than 20 mil. Why did it just plummet like that? What happened that we have no money? All right, 2021 season recap. We're at -7 now. Cowboys beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl. And they matched the Steelers' 6-time Super Bowl champions. Phrase that terribly. Kaepernick, MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. Khalil Mack, Defensive Player of the Year. And then Trevor Lawrence, Offensive Rookie of the Year. JOK gets Defensive Rookie of the Year. We'll take that. But, you know, a disappointing season, I think, is pretty obvious to say. Hey, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah up to superstar development. And he got it. He was star previously. Yep, that's really, really big. And he was, in my opinion, I view him as an overhang defender, which is like a hybrid slot corner, safety, linebacker role. So the versatility of JOK is huge. Like, we could end up moving him back to safety, although I probably won't do that. I'm trying to just boost him into run stopper a lot right here, because if we get run stopping up, he already can cover really well, and we'll just turn him into the complete player. And then who's going to stop him? Nobody. Players ready to negotiate. Clowney got up to superstar dev too. We can't afford him. We can't afford anybody. I don't really know what's eating. Well, actually, I do. It's going to be how contracts were previously set up. This is going to make the rebuild a little bit harder for sure. But now the contract figure in the next year is changing. So what I mean by that is if a player was making 6 mil in 2021, based on the way the contract is structured, they could be making 12 mil in 2022. So, like Myles Garrett, for example, you see how his salary cap hit is going to grow drastically. Nick Chubb, too. Like, we need to figure out a way to get a little bit of money here. It's not by getting rid of Baker. Jarvis Landry. Wow. Yeah, I'm trading him. No question. Odell got Superstar X Factor. Love to see that. So Odell still does regress a little bit. With Superstar X Factor 29. That's pretty brutal. What is this Chris Hubbard contract? Is this a joke? All right. Your cut. Case Keenum contract. Also terrible for us. Goodbye. Jack Conklin's another weird one where he's really expensive. I want to re-sign him, though. He's 28. We can do better, but I need to trade Jarvis Landry. Going into his final year, we gotta get Jarvis Landry out of here. But this actually does free me up to get Clowney for another year. I'll offer this. Maybe a little bit less. He's going to decline. I'm going to franchise tag him after I trade Jarvis Landry. Once I franchise tag him, we're going to go super negative into the cap, paying like 20 mil to keep Clowney. And then I wouldn't be able to trade Jarvis Landry. But right now, while we're still above the available salary cap, oh, I can't trade it this week. Okay. Well, might just have to eat it. We need Clowney back. 17 mil. Could be worse, but we can't afford to bring any of these guys back. So we're at negative 10.4 mil available salary cap. Oh, and it's only -1 here. I can actually create a lot of room by trading Jarvis Landry. His cap hit is tremendous. I'm really tempted to trade Jack Conklin just to free up a lot of cap room. It's like, well, why would you need the cap? He's good. I think we can do better in the draft long term. So I might try and get a top pick with this package. Okay, kind of a weird trade, but Jarvis Landry, Jack Conklin, and number 23 overall moves me up into the top 10 at number 9. The Raiders take on a lot of cap, a lot of our cap, obviously, but I think this gives us so much more flexibility long term that it was absolutely necessary. And if we were to get Trent Brown, who's like +6 overall, only a year older, with superstar development for cheaper, that would be amazing. We're going to be second on Trent Brown. Based off of his time with the Raiders, a little bit worried about offering him a contract. But, let's get Rodrigo Blankenship. We're number 2 on Trent Brown. Probably not going to get him, but maybe. Yep, he rejects. I would like to get Rodrigo Blankenship, though. Just to get a kicker. And there he goes. But it's NFL draft time. So there's an obvious hole at right tackle. I get that. I do. We created that hole, but it freed up so much money. And it's like, well, how much or how valuable is the money if you're going to trade away guys that are really going to help the team? Philip Burnett looks sick. But here's the thing, and the reason I'm comfortable making that move is we were going to have to re-sign him anyway. Jarvis Landry isn't even a question. Like, yeah, that was a good move. But we do need to replace Jack Conklin. If I can get some type of like 74 overall star dev offensive lineman, Scott Arrieta might be the guy. You bald, beautiful man. I think we might be able to do well with replacing him like immediately. The Vikings are offering number 14, number 60, and a 5th. I might try and work something out with the Vikings so that I can get a first next year. See if I can do that. Trading with the Vikings, number 9 to move back to 14. We're trading number 50 and number 183 to get a first-round pick next year. So I decided let's not trade for the guys at the top of the draft that maybe I wanted. And I did want them. They looked pretty good, right? But there are some guys down the board that I also think are pretty good. Casey Pendleton, maybe as a D-tackle, right? Decent. But Scott Arrieta is the big one to replace Jack Conklin right away. 6'4", 315. That might be the exact dimensions of Jack Conklin. Maybe Conklin's 6'5". Conklin's actually 6'6", 308. I thought he was a little bit leaner than that, but I guess not. Taylor Goodson at D-tackle. Also looks pretty good. Dom Rowe, good guard. Like, there's some good value down the board, which is why I was super comfortable trading back. Casey Pendleton, we talked about a little bit too. Like, they're good players here. The Eagles will just throw us a 3rd round pick to move back 1 spot. So, yeah, sure. And the Raiders to move back down to 23 will give us a 3rd and a 4th. Absolutely. I'll then take the center probably. And we have a ton of ammo to move back up. That's why I always trade down to move up. Let's go Casey Pendleton at number 23. He's ranked at number 9. Our original draft pick after swapping with the... who'd we swap with? Where did we send Jarvis Landry and Jack Conklin? I don't even remember now. Oops. But Casey Pendleton looks pretty good. 84 power moves. Block shedding's not that high. Good speed and strength, though. Not sure he's going to work at D-tackle. Might just be a Jadeveon Clowney replacement. Scott Arrieta's not supposed to go for a little while. I really don't want to risk it, though. So I am going to trade up to the number 1 overall spot here in the 2nd round with Seattle. Look at all these picks. 3 3rd rounders. 3 4th rounders. Can I just trade a 3, a 4, and a 4? Not quite. A 3, a 3, and a 4 does get it done, though. Moving all the way up to number 33 to take what I think can be a future right tackle for us. Wyatt Teller, maybe. At right tackle isn't the worst idea. But Scott Arrieta, welcome to the team. Number 8 in the class. 76 overall. Star better development. 86 run block. Okay, Scott. Okay. I mean, that's a no-brainer. He's -5 overall to Jack Conklin, I think. But at the same time, he's way younger, under contract, and has at least the same development trait. Late 1st round guy here is Kevin Hoskins out of Florida. Like the way he looks. Think we could play him at defensive end for sure in our 4-3, so we'll give him a shot. 73 overall, normal development. Yeah, he's just going to be a backup. Trading a 3, a 4, and a 4 this year for a 2 next year from football team. And I think that's like super worth it. This is why we traded back a bunch. We still got all the players we wanted, really. And got more ammo for next year. I mean, this was perfect. And the CPU can handle the rest of the draft. No real interest in anyone remaining, really. So let the CPU deal with it, and we'll start season number 2. Let's see what this draft class looked like. There's an 80 overall. Ooh, an 81 as well. Jaron Ridley. But Philip Burnett, the linebacker, amazing. An 80 overall middle linebacker is ridiculous. 91 speed, 90 tackle. That's insane coming out. That really is insane. Arrieta is a 78 overall tackle, by the way. So if Conklin was an 81 overall, this is about as good of a replacement as you could hope to have right away. Also, Pendleton's going to have to play D-tackle just because we don't really have a whole lot else there. So this is the way the team's going to look for Season 2. There are some holes. We need a good 3rd receiver, or even 2nd receiver, actually, because we don't have Jarvis Landry anymore, which, again, is the right move. Hopefully there's something good in free agency that isn't $13 million a year. Emmanuel Sanders, that works for right now. We'll bring in Emmanuel Sanders. Also bring in Traquan Smith, who isn't bad, 26 years old. Any good D tackles available? Not really. 5-2 again at the midseason mark. This time, though, we are actually leading the division. Show me some really good dev traits. Show me Superstar Plus, please. Star for Arrieta. You know what? Still not bad. Still not bad. And defensively, probably going to be... Oh, it's Superstar! Okay, Casey Pendleton. Getting that block shedding up from playing D-tackle. 87 power moves. Okay, Casey Pendleton. Not bad. Who's ready to negotiate? Denzel Ward, Kareem Hunt. I do want both those guys back. Betonio, Baker Mayfield, Clowney. Okay. Baker's not cheap. Baker's not cheap, but he's a quarterback. We got to pay him. Baker's back. I mean, Clowney's not going to be cheap either. None of these guys really are, and we need a lot of these guys back. That's the big problem. So we got Baker back. Betonio wants more money. Denzel Ward's back. Who else re-signed? J.C. Treader. Can't negotiate with Greedy Williams yet. We're going to have a little bit more money because we're not going to be paying Emmanuel Sanders. We're not going to be paying Traquan Smith. Some of these guys are just here for this season to try and help us win a Super Bowl, which we're not that far from. Just need to put everything together. Playoff time. We are 11-6. Wild card round. The Ravens won the division again. I think they won it last year. So that's no good. Third best offense. What's holding us back then? Defense, 12th. Really not that bad. Nick Chubb was awesome. Baker Mayfield had a really good year, I would say. Chubb had 22 touchdowns, 1,800 yards. Receiving, Odell, 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns. Emmanuel Sanders was pretty good. Our offense did take a step back a little bit, I'd say, even though we were still one of the best in the league. Ronnie Harrison, really good year. 16 tackles for loss for Clowney, who had 9 sacks, 11.5 for Garrett. Our defensive line is just not showing up. 3 picks for Newsom and 3 for John Johnson as well. We'll see if we can beat the Miami Dolphins. 10-7. They definitely aren't as good as we are, but I could see them performing pretty well. 28th is to 3. So they didn't. 28-3, they just got crushed. But can we beat Patrick Mahomes and advance to the conference championship? Couldn't do it in real life in 2020, but did it this time. 49-28. And it's the Raiders in the conference championship. 1 game from the Super Bowl. We're going to simulate. They're an 83 overall. Do not lose to the Raiders, please. Do not lose to the Raiders. We lost to the Raiders. Oh my God. It's the 10-7 Raiders against the 10-7 49ers in the Battle of the Bay. I mean, the Raiders are in Las Vegas now, but you get my point. My point is that this team sucks. No, they don't. But how do you lose to the Raiders? How? It wasn't even close. 40-17. It wasn't even close. We allowed 199 rushing yards. Oh my God. Ran for 48. Great game. Here in the offseason now, the 49ers beat the Raiders, not surprisingly. And I did re-sign my guys. I realized I wasn't recording because I took a little bit of a break in there to eat. But we did bring back Greedy Williams. Did bring back Joel Bitonio. You can see the detail of the contract here. Honestly, not a bad way to showcase this. We re-signed some other players too. I don't know why they're not being shown here. Because we brought, was it only Greedy and Joel Bitonio? I guess it may have been. We're letting Jadeveon Clowney and who else? Clowney and Kareem Hunt walk. We don't really have a ton of money, so it further solidifies the good decision to actually trade Jarvis Landry and to trade Jack Conklin, because not only would we have not been able to afford them, we would have lost out on bringing back other big-time players. Already couldn't bring back Kareem Hunt and Clowney and things like that, but Clowney's regressing. He's down to an 83. I'm not really too mad about it. I'd rather have Max Crosby. But I need a D-tackle more than I need a defensive end. Because Pendleton at D-end is actually really good. Matt Ioannidis is going to be too expensive. So Max Crosby actually could be the guy. It's not a great D-tackle class. I might look to draft one if one's available. That's, good enough. But Max Crosby for right now could just fill in for Jadeveon Clowney immediately. And then we have a whole different problem to worry about. And we do get Max Crosby. That's big. Pendleton for now has to stay at D-tackle. Let's see any dev trait upgrades. Still none from Baker. We need a receiver really badly. And then defensively, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah in season number 2 is up to a superstar X Factor. We don't really need Selfless on him, but it's not the worst to get Myles Garrett going. Ronnie Harrison is up to superstar dev. I don't know if he had it already, but he certainly has it now. John Johnson, I think, goes up to superstar dev as well. This defense is starting to look really good. Just need Greg Newsom to come along a little bit. The addition of Max Crosby is massive. NFL draft time. I had to change the way the defense looks because the defense, just based off the way things work in simulation, if you switch to a 3-4 to get a specific playbook with 3-4 Storm, it performs way better, even with 4-3 personnel. So I moved Ronnie Harrison and Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah to middle linebacker, Anthony Walker to outside. We have Hoskins, who we drafted last year with the anticipation of him being a backup, now starting. But Myles Garrett and Max Crosby at defensive end are going to be huge. And then Pendleton at D tackle, also going to play a huge role. Even though these guys are not 3-4 defensive ends, they will be way better playing at defensive end in the 3-4 and then on the end when these guys are actually like pass rushers. Lions take a pretty good receiver at number 2. Last time that happened was when they took Calvin Johnson. But we'll see what we need. We're at number 9. Not a bad spot to be. At number 30, obviously, this is a sick cornerback. Kirk Kerr. Hate the name, but definitely really, really good. Ben Foote looks pretty good too. We need potentially a receiver. Tim Allen. We got the Santa Claus in there. It's going to be a D tackle draft for us. There isn't really a player I want until Sean Pierce. So we're going to be trading down. Everyone's favorite. Trading number 9 back to 13, or projected next year. We're getting number 33. So we're moving down from 9 to 9, weird. Moving down from 9 to 33, getting a first next year, trading a third this year and next year. So a lot of moving around, but that Falcons pick could be really, really good. They're terrible. And we should be able to take 2 stud D tackles back to back. Wow, the other D tackle's off the board. Unbelievable. Not supposed to go until the second round here at number 30. He just went to the Eagles. Oh, I hate the Eagles, dude. 78 overall as well. That would have been good to start right away. Oh, what a shit franchise. It's not even the worst thing because Tyler McDonald's here. Considered a mid-first round guy. But he's a defensive end and he's a run-stopping type. And he's 6'5", 296. That's a D tackle in a 4-3. So we could play him at D tackle, no problem. And I know we're like more of a 3-4 now, so maybe linebacker's more of an issue. That's an interesting wrinkle I kind of forgot about. Anyway, I'm taking Russell Morant here. He's a 77 overall, number 9 in the class. Not too bad. Star or better development. Decent pass rush with 75 finesse moves. Good block shed, great strength. Decent speed. I really wish there was a receiver I could take. So we just drafted a stud D tackle. Kind of don't need another one. Our rushers are going to be Garrett, Crosby on the end, Pendleton, and the guy we just drafted up the middle. So yeah, let's take a linebacker. Emmett Lindholm out of Georgia looks pretty good, and he is a 75 overall. Normal development. That kind of sucks, but he's got really good speed and tackling. It's just his block shedding is quite low. Looks a little bit better as an outside linebacker, I think, based on his ability. So pretty easy transition for him. And again, you got to remember that the 3-4 isn't actually how a 3-4 works. It just doesn't work out that way in the game. So don't worry about that. And we're going to take a center here. 2 pretty good ones. Let's go with Greg Grant out of Bama. 76 overall. Star or better development. Number 11 in the class. Took him at 55. Doesn't have to start right now. Just be a good backup, and that's all we really need. Number 1 overall player in the class was Ben Foote. Corner to the Giants. Looks very solid, 81 overall. And then Kirk Kerr was an 80 overall. Went a pick earlier. Sean Pierce was the number 4 overall player in the class. Tied for 3. He looks definitely better than the one we got, despite only being 1 overall point higher, I think. And then let's see his depth trait. If it's star, I'm cool with it. It is star. So maybe the guy we got has superstar. Probably not. He's the second D tackle at the end of the first round. I don't know. Going into 2023, we've been... Donovan Peoples is not Odell Jr. But going into 2023, I think it's fair to say so far we've been a little bit underwhelming. Also, this is the next day. I'm on my grind, man. If that means starting a rebuild before I have to do something and then coming back to it to get more accomplished, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm actually having a lot of fun with these. I feel like with the draft actually being good now, it's fun to do rebuilds again for me. And there have been some times where it's maybe not been so much, but we need to figure out how to get a receiver too. And I'm not sure if that means trading someone currently on the team. I don't think it does. I think it means going into free agency, We got Pendleton and Morant. If Morant ends up having superstar dev, I don't know what I'm going to do with him. He's definitely good, but I don't know. Casey Pendleton is also really good, and his block shedding's going up. He's not really a traditional D tackle, obviously, but if you look at how our actual little team functions, it doesn't really make sense to move Max Crosby back. I don't think. Maybe with Hoskins it does. Is that crazy? Hoskins is definitely not bad, but if we moved Morant to left end, or Pendleton to left end, that'd be way easier. And then Max Crosby to outside linebacker, where he's still a rush end. Is that the move? That might be the best for the team. Let me actually do that then. And then, would I do it for Hoskins or Anthony Walker? Anthony Walker's 28. He's way more of an off-the-ball guy, though, and that's what I was talking about with the 3-4, 4-3 hybrid. I don't know. I mean, he's better in coverage, even. Tackling, not so great. You know what? I think I'm going to leave Hoskins out there for the sheer reason that he's 23 years old as opposed to Anthony Walker's 28. I think it makes a little bit more sense to move Crosby back then, which I didn't really plan on doing at any point, but here we are. I feel like he's better at left end for my defense for sure, but also if this means playing Morant and Pendleton at the same time, that's probably going to be the move. I'm going to sign Richie James out of free agency. It can't be a good idea. James Washington too, why not? Both 27, both will play. Oh yeah, we also have Emmett Lindholm. You guys probably just watched me draft him. I kind of forgot. What if he were to play right outside linebacker? The thing is, he only has normal dev. I guess that's why I probably opted to go a different direction. I'm going to try this out this year. Okay. Oh, geez. That put Max Crosby at right outside linebacker. This is absolutely not what I wanted. All right, let me do that. And then it basically works out exactly how I would like. Specialist, did they change that? No. Specialist is fine. Just have to make sure Odell is in the slot. And we'll be good to go. 5-2 at the midseason mark. That feels familiar, but not particularly great. Couple of high priority free agents, I would say. Maybe Austin Hooper is at the bottom of the list, but some big ones for sure. John Johnson, Jedrick Wills, Grant Delpit. Want all three of those guys back, absolutely. Hooper's just 28 and as a tight end, I want him back just because he's good, but also he's not the biggest priority of the big guys. Odell wants a monster contract. I would almost rather franchise tag him. But for 3 years, I'd be down. Yeah, he's going to end up getting franchise tagged, which is cool. I just can't give a 30-year-old receiver turning 31 a 4-year contract worth like $15 million per year. Absolutely not going to happen. John Johnson can get a 5-year deal. Superstar dev. He'll continue to get better this season and I think next season as well with the way regression works. However, by the time he's 32, he'll probably be back down to like a 90, 88, which is fine. Jedrick Wills is going to be expensive. Sure is. Oh, and then Grant Delpit is crazy cheap. Safeties are super cheap. Delpit's back. Jed is back. And what does Hooper want? 5 years, about $10 million per year? Oh, no, I don't want to do that at all. We'll have to reevaluate at the end of the year. It depends what happens this season. Our record and performance in the playoffs is really going to shape whether this is the last season or not, I think. Ooh, 14-3. Finally won the division. The Ravens went 10-7. We have to face them in the wild card. They're not that good, but I'm worried about them with their 87 offense. I'm sure their defense is just going to shut us down somehow. Check out the stats and awards here. Things went fairly well. Baker threw for almost 5,100 yards, 52 touchdowns to only 12 interceptions. What a year. Nick Chubb averaged 6 per carry, had almost 1,600 yards and 18 touchdowns. Receiving, Odell, almost 1,600 yards and 16 touchdowns. Hope was over 1,000 with 10. Richie James almost hit 1,000 yards. Nick Chubb had 8 receiving touchdowns just like James did. And another James had 640 yards in James Washington. Ronnie Harrison Wow, interesting stats here. Ronnie Harrison had 122 tackles, 6 for loss, 2.5 sacks, 2 picks. Great year. Myles Garrett not only had 28 tackles for loss, he had 21 sacks. 7 for Casey Pendleton, 6 for Max Crosby, 4.5 for the rookie Russell Morant. His development trade is star. He's pretty good. He's a nose tackle pretty much. And then 4 picks for Greg Newsome and Denzel Ward led the way. JOK with 3. And then 2 for Ronnie Harrison, Greedy Williams, and John Johnson. But we're cruising right now. We're 14-3. Crushing it the second half of the season. Absolutely crushing it. Can we beat the Ravens? Yes. 42-21. Now the Raiders are in the divisional. Did they beat us last season? I want to say that they did because I remember just feeling awful about it. I want to say that's the thing. We should be able to beat them here. I mean, let's be real. They suck. That we lost again. There's no way. There's no way the Raiders just keep doing this. Where are the Raiders for total offense? Show me where the Raiders are. We had the best offense. Where are the Raiders? The Raiders are all the way down here. 23.5 points per game. Defensively, let's see. Where are they? The Raiders. I guess they were okay. About top 10. I'm just confused how the Raiders do so amazingly well in simulation. I don't know how we're losing these games. I mean, it's actually unbelievable. Panthers, who are always in the Super Bowl, beat the Bills in the Super Bowl. The 2023 season recap has Alvin Kamara winning MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. Myles Garrett with Defensive Player of the Year. And love to see Sam Darnold as a Super Bowl MVP. Players ready to negotiate. We're going to have Odell here. We still have Austin Hooper, obviously. That much has not changed. Does he want less of a contract now? Probably not. Probably still not going to accept this. He's going to test free agency. It's 23.5 to franchise tag him. That's so much. I almost think, I mean, you can't possibly think I'm going to sign Austin Hooper to a 5-year deal. There's just no way. What about a 4-year deal? All right, Austin Hooper's back. I'm going to franchise tag Odell. It's going to send our contracts into a bad situation. Negative 10 mil available salary cap. It really isn't too bad. And somehow, I need to do anything. It's not even really the biggest issue, actually. But I was gonna say we need to do anything to find a receiver. We have the best offense in the league. It's our defense that, for whatever reason, is just incapable of winning a game. I ended up moving back into a 4-3. Denzel Ward up to superstar dev. I can't decide what I want. I went back to Chiefs defense at the end of the season. Maybe that was my mistake. Changed the playbook when things were actually going pretty well, even though our rankings in relation to the rest of the league weren't that great. I still could use a linebacker. Lindholm, not that good. I like the D-line. I like the corners. I like the safeties. I just, for appearance sake, would like a better receiver at receiver 2. NFL draft time. We pick at number 5 overall. So we should be set up. I'm getting the best receiver I can see. And we can draft literally any receiver in the draft. But we don't have to. Emmett Woodward isn't really worth drafting. Okay, no joke. The best receiver in the whole draft is Cole McDaniels. And he's a mid-first round guy. Not particularly great. So that's where we are. This linebacker's 5'11", 222. I said linebacker. He's a safety. He's basically a linebacker. Amazing coverage. 5'11", 222. He's built like the muscle hamster, Doug Martin. Can fly. 4.42 speed. I have a vision. Also, Percy Swinton. What the hell? A- man, end zone. Okay. I'm really going to try not to... I can't not draft him. I just can't not, you know? Picking at number 5 and 27. I want to get crazy. I want Percy Swinton because he's so good. I want Keontae Groves because he's so good. Juan Sullivan also looks pretty good. A little slow. I mean, 4.57. Saying that's a little slow is kind of insane because it's not. Angelo Ricard looks good. We don't really need another edge. But that corner is he's just way too good to pass up on, right? He's the best player in the draft. There's no way around it. Giants took a QB, 78 overall. And I'm going to make a move up with the Cardinals. I need the corner. Trading number 5, a 5th and a 6th to move up a couple spots with the Cardinals. And I do have some trade pieces I can fire off. I know it's like, why are you taking a cornerback at number 2 overall when you have Greedy Williams as a fine 3rd cornerback? And I'll tell you why. He looks way too good. Just, that's what it is. Looks way too good. 4.36 speed at 6'3", at 21 years old, with A- man in zone. There's no way he's not the best player in the class. 81 overall, ranked number 1, took him at number 2. That is Greedy Williams right now. He's an 81 overall. Star Dev, Percy Swinton could have his highest superstar X factor. We're taking the risk. He's also younger. His man coverage is -3. His zone coverage is like +8. Something like that. 95 speed to go with 82 man in zone. I mean, he's so good. So good. Sometimes you just have to do what you want to do and live with the consequences. And there really aren't any consequences. I trade Greedy Williams now, which is, yeah, slightly unrealistic. But his contract is coming up, and I'm not going to not take that type of a player. It's just not going to happen. Okay, trading Baker May... No, could you imagine? I am going to try and get this number 7 overall pick from the Colts, though. And they need a right guard. And I moved Greg Grant over to right guard. He goes +1 overall, 280. He's star dev, by the way. And we just really don't need him. Now, that's not going to go through, right? Not even close. But if I package in the number 27 overall pick, we start to get a little bit closer. And then we can talk about maybe this becoming a reality. Actually, Greedy's an 80. So he's already worse. What does that do for me? I don't think I can actually get this pick. I want the safety to play at linebacker so badly, though, because he looks like the 2nd best player in the class. How do I get this pick? Let's see if he goes. He doesn't. He's still there. He's going to go at number 8 without question. I feel like the CPU just goes straight down the board. But I need this player. It's another case of, sorry if you don't like it. It's a tough day to be you, I guess, because I'm going to figure out a way to make this happen. It's a big-time trade. Greg Grant was moved to right tackle. It's a first-round pick this year and next year to get to number 8. Takes a lot to trade up into the top 10. I really think this is going to be worth it because we've kind of had a really tough spot with linebackers the entire rebuild, I think, where we've tried to get some guys and they just really haven't done it. Keontae Groves is a little undersized at 5'11", but he's also 222 pounds. And I'm going to take him. Keontae Groves is an 81 overall, the number 2 player in the class. We just drafted 2 80-plus overall players in the same draft. I told you I had to move up. He looked ridiculous. 93 speed, 77 zone, 81 man, 77 for play rec, awareness, and pursuit. His block shedding is so bad. But I've got a plan. Baker Mayfield up to superstar dev, by the way. I was just checking out the team, seeing how I'd want to orient things. JOK playing right outside linebacker, I think, is how we're going to do it. Greedy's got to get traded. I think at this point, I would rather trade Greedy and a 2nd-round pick for an actual, like, great receiver. I'm not even sure that receiver is going to be available at the end of the 2nd round, and I'm not even sure he's good enough to warrant like drafting and being happy about it. Yeah, receivers off the board. But I traded up for players that I think help us way more. Our offense clearly not the issue. JP Mackey, early 1st rounder. Just sitting here in the 4th. Well, supposed to be sitting there in the 4th. Is he actually going to be available? Unlikely, I'd say. 4.61 million available cap room. It's got to be Greedy getting moved. Now, I think we could trade him probably for any good aging receiver, just because he's young, still talented. We just traded with the Cardinals, but we can't afford DeAndre Hopkins. Would be nice if we could. We probably wouldn't be able to get him anyway. Trading number 59, a 2nd-round pick next year, and a 4th this year for a 1st-rounder from the Dolphins next year. I plan on making a move just in order for salary cap purposes. I'm going to roll it over into 2024. So I am going to trade for a receiver, 100%. but it's going to be not during the draft. So I want to pick next year, so it still has the value. Available salary cap, still not in a great spot. We killed the draft as hard as I ever could have. Like, I drafted 280 overall plus players. That's insane. And there were 4 in the entire draft. Angelo Ricard, who I looked at, normal dev, sucks to suck, but he looks really good. And then Kendall Matthews. Pretty good running back here. 93 change of direction coming out. Not bad. Yeah, definitely a really good draft class. Juan Sullivan I considered. Definitely looks pretty good. Definitely looks pretty good. What is your development trait? What's your dev trait, Juan? And I think with the 281 overall players we drafted, the only star, one of those guys is having superstar. I feel like there's no way around it, right? 281 overall players, one of these guys has to have superstar or higher. Salary cap's in a weird spot. Gonna have to cut some people in order to make the trade I want to make. And it's a good trade for me. But Anthony Walker Jr. kind of just can't afford him anymore. He's at left outside linebacker. The penalty is way more than I thought it was. But at least that penalty is going to roll over. So I'm going to cut him. I'm getting Tim Allen. The Santa Claus 4. Rebuilding the Browns. That would be a movie, a crush at the box office. You know, Tim Allen was a coke dealer. Not like this, by the way. Cocaine. Actual cocaine, yeah. Tim Allen, what do you got for me? Don't know his dev trait. Don't know that I need to. Oh, he's got superstar dev. What up, Tim? Good to see you. No deep route running to his name at all. But this is the team. Got to be the final season. I don't know how we haven't won a Super Bowl right now. It's honestly depressing. Got Groves going to play middle linebacker. He's only a 78 overall there. But he's more of a pass coverage guy at that spot anyway. He'll develop as a run stopper. We got Pat Swinton as a stud third and slot corner. And you know what? Groves is going to play over Ronnie Harrison. Try and stop me. Try. Crosby, Morant, Pendleton, Garrett. Team looks how I want it to look. But can we actually end up winning the Super Bowl this year? You know what? It's unlikely because this team doesn't want to do anything I want them to do. They just don't. They lose to the Raiders every time in the playoffs. The Raiders. Playoff time. Where are we? 15-2. We crushed. Absolutely crushed. Baker Mayfield, pretty good year. Odell, pretty good year. I don't know if you guys can see on the right side. Myles Garrett, pretty good year. Oh my God. All right, let's take a look at this. Best offense, not surprising. Defensively, third best defense. Baker Mayfield threw for 5,600 yards, 47 touchdowns, did throw 17 picks. Kind of odd, but he was also amazing. Rushing, Nick Chubb took a back seat here, I guess. Averaged only 4.5 per carry, which is really good, but it's not for him based on what he's been doing. 1,200 plus rushing yards, 18 touchdowns. Receiving, Odell Beckham Jr., 2K on the nose. Also had 22 receiving touchdowns. Hooper with 1,000. Tim Allen existed. I don't know what else you can say about that. And then defensively, a lot to go over here. 108 tackles, 7 for loss, 1.5 sacks, and a pick for JOK. Myles Garrett had 19 tackles for loss, but that's nothing compared to his 27.5 sacks. Would be an NFL record by a lot. But with, you know, an 18-game season, or 18-week season, 17-game season, we might see some single-season records broken as early as this year in real life. Myles Garrett, unreal. 13 sacks from Casey Pendleton, 8 for Russell Morant, 7 for Max Crosby. Interceptions, Denzel Ward had 5. Keontae Groves with 2, not Kendall. And then Percy Swinton with 2. Ready to see their dev traits? 3 sacks for Keontae Groves as well. 12 tackles for loss. Not a bad year. Keontae Groves has superstar X Factor. Okay, Keontae. Block shedding didn't even get upgraded a little bit. Didn't even get upgraded at all. So that's pretty disappointing. And then Percy Swinton, keeping him in state. Double superstar X Factor. Double superstar X Factor. You cannot tell me I made the wrong move. You can't. You cannot tell me I made the wrong move going to draft these guys. Just absolutely did not. 2 superstar X Factor rookies. 100% without question the move. Division round of the playoffs, got to go through the Jaguars. We're only a +10 overall in every category compared to them. We're just the Jaguars on steroids. We beat them 37-21, and now the 81 overall Titans stand in our way in the conference championship. I'm jumping in because I'm not going to watch this BS happen where we lose. I'm just not going to watch it happen. It's not going to happen. Okay, we're up 21-0. Titans are trying to fight back into this game. I don't think they're going to. 31-14, 34-14, 41-14. Our offense is cruising. Defense has played fairly well. 44-29. That's a weird scoreline. I don't like it. 47-29 is your final, and the Browns are finally going to the Super Bowl. Get me out of here. Get me to the Super Bowl. 4 TDs for Baker. Big game. Run stopper for Keontae Graves. Give me up like +15 to block shed. Take +3. Super Bowl time against the Saints. Give me more upgrades for Keontae Graves. Oh, it's Odell. Give me slot here. Odell goes up to a 96 overall with morale. And it's go time. Super Bowl, not even 50. Is it Super Bowl 60 right now? Super Bowl 59? One of those two, I think. Let's check out the team. What should be one final time. Baker Mayfield up to Superstar X Factor. Don't mind that one bit. Offense and the offensive line remains the same. Arietta's up to a 90, by the way. Jed is up to a 93. And then defensively, that's a lot of Superstar X Factors. Denzel Ward goes up to Superstar X Factor. We love to see that. We love to see that. We can't do reinforcement here. There's no way. That just can't be good. Let's do shutdown. I always do shutdown. I don't know if it's good or not. Swinton, of course, Superstar X Factor. Pendleton goes up to Superstar X Factor. So that's great. How are you going to stop this team? Legitimately. How? And I know what you're thinking. Upgrade Myles Garrett. He's literally so good that he cannot be upgraded. Just can't. Those upgrade points are going to sit there forever. The only way to actually spend those is by changing Myles Garrett, or by changing his position, and then upgrading him as a D tackle, get like block shed up or something like that, and then move him back. But Super Bowl time against the Saints are not bad. They're an 86 overall to our 94. Definitely good. We'll see if we can come out on top anyways. This is the final season. This is the final game. So we better come out on top. Up 3-0, but that was changed to 3-3, and now 10-6 still in favor of our team. Saints take the lead. We grab it right back. 24-13 here as we approach the end of the second quarter. It's over. Into the second half now. It's 35-21. This score's flying. The Saints are being completely stalemated here as the final score is going to be 45-21. The Cleveland Browns, in pretty awesome looking uniforms, by the way, have finally won a Super Bowl. It took long enough. We just kept losing to worse teams. But we finally won a Super Bowl, and we did so. I don't know what I think about these uniforms, honestly. The helmet is kind of throwing things off for me. The number on the side, I just think, doesn't fit. I think that's my biggest issue. But other than that, very happy about what's transpired here. First Super Bowl, finally winning it all. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I mean, we underperformed a little while, but ended up winning it all when it counted the most. Final season, best results we could have asked for. And that's going to do it for this video. Appreciate you guys watching, liking, subscribing. If you're going on a complete binge through these rebuilds right now on my channel in general, thank you very much. And hope you continue to enjoy the ride. See you in the next one. Take it easy.
I hit it at the park, Ben Bones. See me high step to the end zone. My life like a game, Nintendo. Playing with the best, let them know. Get off the track, the train's coming through. Yeah, promise you get in my way, then you best believe I'ma just run over you. Yeah, yeah. Papa turn, taking it back to the house. Defensive joke, I'm laughing so loud. Speed burst good.